folks, Jason here with another chord progression video. In this video lesson I'm going to break down that chromatic black gospel progression you just heard. But before we do that, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the importance and significance of black gospel music. I would argue that most musical styles since the late 19th century owe a huge harmonic debt to this musical tradition and language. We're talking jazz, Motown, neo-soul, and so many other genres and traditions of music. There's a lot of great black gospel musicians performing, composing, and improvising in this style today, and many of them are great educators right here on YouTube. In the description box below, I've provided links to several of these channels. Do yourself and these wonderful musicians a favor. Go check out the work they're doing, subscribe to their channel, support them. They're really helping to keep this tradition alive. And for me personally, this musical tradition is something that's had a great influence musically on my voice as an artist over the last decade or so. And so what I'm going to show you is just one of thousands of examples I've written over the last decade of this element of the black gospel music theory tradition, if you will, which is where you take a major scale, in this case I'm in the key of D major, and pick a note in it that's not traditionally in the scale, something that's a blues inflection. In this case I'm going to do the sharp 4 or flat 5, and I'm going to descend chromatically through the scale before resolving to scale degree 1 or the tonic. Now, before I get really nerdy with the music theory elements of how the progression I played at the top of the video works, for those folks who are just like, hey, I don't care about all that, I just want to learn the chords, I'm going to quickly show you that, break it down for you. So let's do that first. First up, we have G sharp minor 7 flat 5, or G sharp half diminished. This moves to a G9, which moves to a D in first inversion, or D over F sharp, which moves to an F13 sharp 11 add 9. You could also think about that as an F7 with a G chord in first inversion on top. This moves down to an E minor 9, which moves to an E flat major 9 no third, which moves to a D sus add 9 before resolving to D. In slow motion, here's that whole progression. Now, for folks who want to stick around and get into some really nerdy music theory stuff with me, I'm going to break down why this progression works. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is this starting chord. Very often in the black gospel tradition, that sharp 4 scale degree is going to be harmonized with some sort of diminished chord. This could be a diminished triad, so like a G sharp diminished, or it could be a fully diminished 7 chord, G sharp fully diminished 7, for example. Or in this case, I'm using the half diminished. So that's a G sharp half diminished or minor 7 flat 5. And I'm doing this 2+2 configuration where I'm doing 2 notes in the right hand and 2 notes in the left hand. So I've got the 3rd and 5th in the right hand and this shell voicing of the root and 7th in the left hand, which creates this warmer, more dimensional sound. Now I'm going to keep the B and D in the right hand and move the left hand both voices down chromatically. So we have this G sharp half diminished moving to a G7. I'm going to add in the 9th for a little extra flavor. And to really stay within this style, I'm going to also use another blues inflection, which is this sharp 5 or flat 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flat 6, sharp 5, however you want to think about it. And I'm going to do this. That's something that you can hear in so many musicians playing. Vince Guaraldi, who did the Charlie Brown Christmas album, is one such famous example. Now I'm going to resolve this G9 chord down to a D chord, but I'm going to keep this chromatic movement in the left hand, so it's going to be a D, not with the D as the root, but the 3rd, F sharp in the bass. So So we've got G sharp minor 7 flat 5, moving down to G9 with this blues inflection, to D over F sharp. Next up is going to be this F13 sharp 11 add 9. Now if you're like, wow Jason, that's a mouthful and I don't really think about chords this way, another way you can approach this is as 2 stacked chords. You could think about the left hand playing an F7 chord, root, 7, third of the F7, and then a G chord in first inversion in the right hand. However you want to think about it, it's this really rich sound harmonically that creates this nice tension before we resolve to this E minor 9. Just listen to that movement of these 2 chords. So on this E minor 9, I'm doing this open 9 voicing in the left hand. This is sometimes referred to as a sus2 or even just a 2 chord where you have the root, 5th, and 9th, or 2, depending on your perspective. And then I'm going to do the guide tones, 3rd and 7th, of the E minor in the right hand. So we have this classic sort of E minor 7 voicing, but we're doubling up the 5th, and we're adding in the 9th. So that's G sharp minor 7 flat 5, G9, D over F sharp, F13 sharp 11 add 9, resolving to E minor 9. Next up we have an E flat major 9, but I'm intentionally leaving out the G to get this more open sound. And listen to this voice leading movement. So the left hand is keeping this same shape of root 5 9 or root 5 2. And then the right hand is moving up in the inner voice to, again, that blues inflection, and then adding that 9. We end this progression with not just a D chord, we could certainly do that, E minor 9, E flat major 9, no third, to D. It's a beautiful sound, but I'm going to prolong the tension a little more by doing a D sus, add the 9th, and then resolve down to the 3rd. So our whole progression is as follows: G sharp minor 7 flat 5, G9, D over F sharp, F13 sharp 11 add 9, E minor 9, E flat major 9 no third, D sus add 9 to D. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for your support, and have a great rest of your day.